Holy crap. So this is Nightmare Hospital, and wow, the Steven Universe crew did not go gently with us. So the story of this episode is Connie. Of course, she hasn't yet told her parents that she's training with Steven and has been dealing with all of this gem stuff. You know, kind of like what Greg would say. And Steven's like, hey, why don't you keep my mom's sword so you can practice? Because you only get one day to practice with us with sword fighting. And Connie's like, okay, yeah, it will be cool. But of course she gets caught by her mom and Dr. Maheshwaran, and she takes the sword away. That's how the sword gets into the hospital, because Dr. Maheshwaran is called back in to inspect this patient that's been acting strange after a car accident. And it's up to Steven and Connie to get back the sword. And oh god, once they get into the hospital, oh my god, I freaking love the color scheme in this. It's like this very, very dark grayish, like a hint of gray in the very, very dark green. You can see it, and with other shades of gray, and no, I don't mean the disaster and horribleness of that freaking novel that dare not speak its name. Ugh. And oh my god, I freaking love the setting. Like, everything is dark, and even Connie says, hey, they only turn the lights off after a certain hour, and I'm like, okay, a little bit of a tidbit, but yeah, it's still scary, this freaking hospital with those dark lights. No, I do not want to be in that hospital. And oh god, the patient that Dr. Maheshwaran has to inspect, oh my god. For when we see the hand with, you know, the piece of paper or strap or bracelet or whatever that patients normally have with information, you just know that it's a monster. And oh god, how Steven and Connie try to get back the sword without Dr. Maheshwaran finding out. It's just so tense, even though, yes, these are two kids who are trying to steal back something. The way they execute it in this episode is just nerve-wracking. You're like, okay, you got the sword, get the hell out. Like that, you get into that, and is it just me, or do the patients, the monsters, remind you of the clickers and the runners from The Last of Us? Yeah, I'm getting really bad memories. Good god, I don't want to hear the clickers. And so we do find out that there's been two patients, two creatures, gem fusions, dual clusters, that Peridot has been examining in the kindergarten. We now know that two of them escaped and are in this hospital, but what I really find weird is that the other doctors and Dr. Maheshwaran are not fazed by it. They're like, this is a patient and they have no pulse. Damn budget cuts. It's just like that, and I find that hilarious. I'm like, oh my god. Like, they're like, we don't hear a pulse, even though that freaking I really can't remember the name, stethoscopio. I can't really remember how they think, oh, it's faulty because of bad budget or something. It's hilarious. And how they just dismiss it and like, oh, we'll just get something else so we can inspect this patient better. Come on, it's a freaking monster. Once you get that, despite the budget cuts or whatever, you should know something's gonna come up, something bad, especially in this world with magical creatures. Come on, Dr. Maheshwaran, you've seen Steven's Guardian Amethyst and Pearl fuse and defuse. You should know stuff is up. And what I really like about this episode, besides the action and how the setting is very Last of Us-ish, and of course your typical zombie outbreak, even though it's not really an outbreak, but it gives you the sense of it, how you see the relationship that Connie has with her mother. And it's very interesting because, yes, we do see that Dr. Maheshwaran is very controlling to a certain degree. Also her dad, but it's mostly the mom. And, dude, she's very controlling. She's like, I know your activities, I know your internets, and I don't know what else. I really can't remember, but she just said, like, internet. I'm like, do you inspect her internet? You search her web browsing? Dude, that is, like, the perfect thing to make your daughter anxious, have trust issues. Why do you think that she hasn't told you about Steven and the rest of the things that she's done? Dr. Maheshwaran is so controlling, but at the end of this episode, she says it's because she cares for her daughter and she wants her to be safe. We older audiences who watch this show understand the motive and the means, but sometimes that doesn't work. You have to communicate, which is what Connie does. She tries so hard to talk to her mom, but her mom is so insistent that no, I know what's best, mother knows best, which she says in this episode, and doesn't let Connie express herself. That's another problem with how parents raise their kids. Sometimes they don't listen to the kids, even though they say, oh, you can always talk to me. You have to listen. There has to be communication in there, okay? Not just, it's just one side and then you're like, oh, but my daughter never speaks to me, or my son never speaks to me. No, mother knows best or father knows best. I know what's right. No, don't do that, please, parents. Which is what I love about this episode, that Connie goes to a certain length, even disobeying her mom, to show, hey, I can take care of myself. I've been taking these classes, these sword fighting classes, and I've been hiding it from you because you wouldn't understand. Even though I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't let me. And that's why she kept the secret. And after she shows her mom that she can defend herself, she can fight, and that the situation that they were in was out of Dr. Maheshwaran's control, and only in the control of the kids because they know what to do, she kind of gets a mini meltdown when she sees Lion. You can see her like shiver, like tremble a little bit, and you can see it in her eyes that, hey, maybe what I've done wasn't really in the best interest of my daughter, wasn't really good for her. And yes, we understand that parents do that to protect their kids. We understand why, but sometimes you have to let your kids just talk to you, like express themselves, tell you what's bothering them, what they really feel, and let the parents, let the parents process this information, think on the level of their kids, so that the parents can remember how it was like to be a kid, to have adults just not listen to you. And with that, you see that Dr. Maheshwaran is a little bit she's slightly troubled by this, but at the same time she's like, okay, my daughter can somehow know how to fight. Maybe it's time to let go for a bit. You can't just let go of a kid instantly, but just let go a bit. And you see you see character development for Dr. Maheshwaran. We only seen her a few times and how strict she is, but now with this episode we see that yes, she is another human being. She has flaws, and that's amazing. And how her relationship with her daughter has grown in this episode, even though it's slightly, but it kind of jumped, and it's really good. It's not like your other shows in which they're like, oh yes, we're gonna be best friends now. No, it takes time. And it's good in this episode. And a cute little tidbit, when Connie and her mom hug, and Connie's like, I love you, Mom, you see Steven look back at the sword, his mom's sword, and gives it a look and hugs it. Rebecca, why did you have to make this show so sad with Steven not having his mom? Oh, it's so sad. And that's it. That's what I think about this episode. Yeah, I'm really happy that Steven Universe is back. I freaking love that show, and well, let's see what happens in the next episode. I've been trying to not spoil myself with the titles. Of course, Tumblr and sometimes, what's the name? The Beach City Bugle, which is the sister site for Equestria Daily. You know, My Little Pony having a sister site being Steven Universe. But come on, I love both those shows. And I've been trying to not to get spoiled by Tumblr or Beach City Bugle, but I got a few titles in my head that were revealed a few weeks before this episode came out, and so hopefully I forget them because I want to go into this blind like I'm doing it with the vlogs. And let's see what it goes, what happens. Let's see what happens in the next episode for Steven Universe. Hopefully it's a feel-good episode because this episode was a little bit heavy. Not as heavy as the Steven bombs, but still kind of heavy in the family department. Why, Rebecca Sugar? Why?